All right, example 7, convert 32 feet to inches. Now, here's what I want you guys to do. The table of equivalent measures on page 21 of your book is there, and you may already know some of these things, which is fine. Okay? But anytime you have to open your book back to page 21 to find out one of these tables of equivalent measures, I want you to write down that measure on your paper. So in this case, 32 feet to inches, I'm converting from a unit of feet to a unit of inches. And let's say I have to look that one up. We probably don't. I think you guys know this. But yeah, it's a little bit more than 10. Not quite 10.
12.
That's big. There you go, 12. All right, so 1 foot equals 12 inches. All right. The idea of equivalent measures is this. 1 and 12 obviously aren't the same number, but 1 foot and 12 inches represent the same length. Okay, so they're equal to each other. And in fraction world, when you have number over equal number, you get 1, right? All right, so that's called a unit multiplier. So 1 foot over 12 inches, or 12 inches over 1 foot, is a unit multiplier. So if you have to look one of these measures up, if you don't know it, I want you to write on your paper, because guess what happens after you write it on your paper 6 or 7 times?
You know it.
You know, all right? So then when you get to kilometers going to miles, and you know there's exactly 1.609344 kilometers in 1 mile, you got that in your brain because you've written it down enough. That's what happened to me. I kept writing it down and eventually it stuck in my brain and I can't forget it. So, but again, that's what happens. So if you don't know one of these things, you have to look it up, write it down. It'll stick eventually. Once it sticks, you don't have to look it up anymore. You don't have to write it down anymore. And if at some point you forget it, you can look it up again, start writing it down again, and then it happens again. So eventually they stick forever. So these are unit multipliers. If you multiply by this or this, you're not changing the overall length that you're dealing with. So 32 feet is what we're starting off with. I put that over the number 1 to create a fraction. All right, you always want to deal with fraction structure when you're dealing with these problems. My goal is to make feet change to inches. So I want feet to go away, I want inches to show up. So the one that's going to make that work is this one here, right? Because currently feet's currently in the numerator. So I'm going to put a foot in the denominator, so these units are going to cancel out, because when we have fraction, top and bottom the same, they cancel. And I know that inches then goes on top, and we can see that 12 inches goes to 1 foot. That's the structure of my answer. What's that?
32 times 12.
That's what we're going to end up doing. We'll look at it in a second. Okay, so 32 feet over 1, 12 inches over a foot. So again, I'm multiplying by 1. What's 6 times 1?
6.
25 times 1?
25.
So when you multiply by 1, you get the same thing, right? So I'm taking this 32 feet times 1, I'm getting the same thing just in a different unit. And the unit I'm going to get, foot cancels foot, the unit I end up with is inch, which is what I wanted, right? So we simply have to do, as Mitchell said, multiply 32 times 12, 384.
Yeah. You need to use your calculator.
Yeah, that one was easy, they get harder. All right, so 384 inches. Use calculators as necessary to evaluate these things. The back of the book does not evaluate it. They would have put 32 times 12 inches. I want you to evaluate it out to a number because I'm going to let you use the calculator. I'd rather get the actual answer.